This is the Austrian Audio CC8, one of the best sounding pencil mics I have heard, and a mic that I've heard nothing but good things about. So then let's take a look at what Austrian Audio did here, starting with where they got the inspiration for this microphone. Now, if you recall from my older Austrian Audio videos, like the OC818, the OC18, and the OC16, the very company was born out of several ex-AKG employees in Vienna. Now, if you missed it, the story is AKG closed up shop there, and that left 22 former AKG employees from all different departments to head up this new company and keep the history of amazing mics flowing out of Vienna. And they did just that, coming out of the gate swinging with a newly designed capsule called the CKR12, which was in the OC818 and the OC18. And as my Austrian Audio stockpile grows, I kind of want to revisit those mics. Let me know down below if you guys want to see that happen. But from the beginning, it was clear that Austrian Audio wasn't hellbent on just copying years of design and knowledge, but they wanted to be inspired by it and some of the legendary capsules they had a part in designing in the past. Specifically, they mentioned in their marketing to take those capsules and modernize them for today. Now, while I lack access to the CK1 or any of the mics that it was in at this moment, we can still appreciate this microphone for what it is. Now, this is where we get to that more modern sound that they're talking about. And I know that there's some purists out there that are horrified at the very thought, but the CC8 is transformerless. Now, if you didn't know, transformers on a microphone, especially condenser mics, they offer character, warmth, and they're often described as vintage. However, the massive drawback is uniformity or lack thereof, unless that is you bought a match pair that was basically built at the exact same time and meet specific standards when tested. Now, what this ensures is that the sound from the mics are identical, so when you're pairing, they offer up a balanced and accurate sound image. But when you create a microphone without a transformer like this, you get a couple more things. You get a less colored sound, more of an extended response in both high and low frequencies. And most importantly, you get accuracy, meaning it is much easier for companies to release microphones that pair up without buying them as a matched pair. Now, this was a big deal with the OC18 and the OC818. You could buy any OC18 and pair it with any OC818, and voila, you had a matched pair. So then what is the benefit of a pencil mic? Now, this is where these things shine. It's in the attack of an instrument. All mics can pick up the sound of an instrument, but the attack is something different. And that's because of that smaller capsule, which allows for better transient response. In very basic terms, the size of the capsule means it will react quicker to a sound wave and it resets quicker. This allows for more accurate reproduction of sound. Now, where is that good? Well, any instrument that relies on detail, like a drum or perhaps a guitar, or really anything where you want to hear the attack of the instrument. So let's look at how this may differ between a large diaphragm condenser and this, the pencil mic. Okay, so set up here we have the OC818 as well as the CC8 from Austrian Audio, and we're going to take a look at the attack. Now, the attack of an instrument with a stringed instrument like this bass is the pick, or if you know how to do slap. I'm not very good at slap bass, so I'm not going to put you through that. However, the pick can create an attack, and you're going to be able to see as I go between these two microphones, between the CC8 and the OC818, you're going to hear the difference of how they record the attack of the instrument. So let's just start with the bass. Now, I kind of view pencil mics as something that you graduate into and upwards through the stack, meaning you tend to start out with some of the entry-level options and move your way up as the finances allow. or perhaps they're the one thing sticking out in your mix is harsh or just unflattering and you need to upgrade that way. However you get there, these aren't that far up the list on price. In fact, they're somewhat affordable in the mid-range. They're somewhat placed somewhere between the entry-level options and the Neumanns of this world. And honestly, at this price point and with the performance of these mics, you might not need to make that next step up to the KM184s, as these sound like they would suffice on any setup. And if you're an Austrian audio fan, these things will fit into your studio quite nicely. And as I generally say about Neumanns, no studio was ever worse off for owning one. It's becoming a rather similar sentiment with the Austrian audio options out there. So yeah, if you're thinking of moving up in the world with your pencil mics and want something that is going to capture that attack, check these things out. Cheers guys, and thanks for watching.